Africans Leaving America now has a repatriation manual for your visit outside of the U.S. or for your repatriation journey. This manual has plane ticket information, self-care journaling, and also financial planning with a savings log attached. This will help our people keep track of their income and journal along the way. You can find us on Amazon under Afia Koomson or under Repatriation Manual. Thank you for your contributions. Africa United. Hello, family. This is Africans Leaving America. I am Afia Koomson, and we have a wonderful guest with us today. Please introduce yourself to the platform, sir.
Hello, platform. I'm Glen Carey out of Macon, Georgia. Macon, Georgia is Middle Georgia.
And Mr. Carey is one of my group members, and he always posts things about Angola. Now, some time back, I was supposed to interview a native from Angola, but for some reason he opted out. So I've always been very curious about Angola. Like, it seems like a beautiful country. So let me know and let the platform know what made you want to travel to Angola for your first African country.
Well, you know how people like to loosely use the word chosen by God.
Mm-hmm.
It was the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use that word loosely.
Mm-hmm.
I was chosen by the ancestors and by God.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I had no inkling as to where I was going. All I wanted to go was Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, before I met my wife in the late 1990s, this is what I said to myself. I don't know who I'm gonna marry, but I know I'm gonna marry an African.
Wow.
And from there, and you know how people like to say, when you put it out into the universe, it come right back to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It came right back to me in a way no one can imagine.
Wow.
This is what I put in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Before I met my wife from Angola. I don't know who I'm gonna marry. All I know is I'm gonna marry an African.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So did
We
y'all meet
enough,
online? Did you all meet online?
No, face to face. We ain't got enough time in a day for me to tell you this story. But
wow.
So I'm not gonna go there.
Right.
Okay.
I would like to hear that story, you know? I'm serious. Like, I want to know how did y'all
That's
meet?
not enough time in 24 hours for me to tell this story.
Especially like being in the 90s.
I would have to sit down with you and her, and we'll need at least 2 days.
Wow.
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
When I tell you divine intervention, you know, what you speak out there will come back to you. You know?
Yes, it will.
That's why, you know, we gotta watch what we say. You know, the tongue is like an iron sword, and it can cut, you know.
Yes.
Either it can work for your good or it can work for your worst nightmare.
She was a college student in Atlanta.
Okay.
When I met her.
I
met her in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
In Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Yes. And the setup was nothing but God. The setup was nothing but God.
Ooh, I tell you, God is good. You know,
I got to give you a peek into what I just said. I was working United States Postal Service, working many hours late. I was getting off, let's say, about 3, 4 in the morning. I would always go to the Shell gas station because I had about a 40-hour drive on the interstate. So I needed something to keep me awake. So I would always stop at the same gas station and get a cup of coffee. A year later, guess who I met? I'm gonna leave it at that.
Mm, 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 mm. And what
3
year did?
years later, 3 years later, we were married.
Mm.
Today, listen, today, right now, well, I'm in Macon. She's in Luanda, Angola. We are no longer married. It lasted for 5 years. But we're
Okay.
closer. We are closer now than ever.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I'm due to travel to her country within the next 2 years to sign some papers to do a community project to help with the abject poverty there. And it will be with the national government and with lawyers. I can't do it over the phone. I have to be there in person to sign the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I have to sign the paper in person. So I have to get back up. So in 2 years, I will be in Luanda again.
Okay.
Signing papers.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Now, do you feel like Angola is a place for the diaspora to visit and repatriate to?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
But I'm gonna let you know up front.
Yes.
Angola is one of the toughest countries to get into.
Mm.
And there's a reason. Everything I'm telling you, there's a reason behind it, and I can explain it to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay?
Well, I know that I just recently seen that, they had a civil war all the way from 1975 to 2002.
Can I correct you? Queen, can I correct you on that one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a war there from 61 to 2002.
Wow.
When I went first in 2001, the war was still going on. Yes.
How was that?
But the country had an economic setup where nothing interfered with commerce, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you get what I mean. All right.
Mm.
So that was a war in Angola. The war for independence started in 1961. After the war for independence was won in 1975, you had three factions. You had UNITA on the south, you had MPLA in the middle, and you had FNLA on the north end fighting the Portuguese separately.
So all these separate factions.
Once they kicked the Portuguese out, one party had to rule. It didn't have to be that way, but you know how we are. You know how black folks are worldwide. So that point in 1975 began the so-called Civil War. But if you ask me, it was a setup by the Portuguese. But like I said, this rabbit hole is deep. And you got to understand, and you got to be able to predict with accuracies. Okay? You had three different parties that can be traced back to three different tribes, pretty much. You see where I'm going, right?
Yep.
We got to do better.
We do.
Imagine had the three parties unified.
I know.
So you see where I'm going, right? See, I can't talk to them like I talk to you.
Exactly.
I can't talk to them the way I talk to you. I have to keep my mouth shut up in there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So there was three different parties. The MPLA won, which is the tribe in the center. Okay. UNITA, the biggest of the tribe was UNITA in the south. Okay. And then in the north was FNLA. And see, FNLA they were partly in Angola and partly in the DRC. And during the war, they got support from DRC because a lot of their tribe is in the DRC. Okay. Yes. My wife was born in 1973. The war started in 1975. But the war for independence was going on when she was born.
Right.
So all her life was war. She was a child of war by any definition or by any imagination. Like I said, we could talk we can give you this story for 2 days straight and won't finish this.
You know what?
We can give you this story. We promise ourselves we're gonna write a book on it.
Well, I tell you what, it starts here. You know, this platform is very large, and you truly have a story to tell.
Yes, we have agreed. We both agreed, and we both have said it many times over. It was God that brought us together. Only God.
Because something has to change.
Something has to change.
It does.
You talking about change. Change is in Angola beyond anybody's imagination. Right now, anytime you see a list of the 10 most progressive countries in Africa, Angola is in it. Angola has made such a quick turnaround, it's never been recorded in history. The economic turnaround.
So I got a question. What are the natural resources in Angola?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because that's one of the reasons why the country's be in war too. Because look at Congo. You know, Congo has so many natural resources, and you know the war doesn't stop over there for their resources. So what does Angola have?
Listen, Angola is next door to DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, the richest country in Africa.
It is.
Let me paint a picture. Angola ain't far behind the DRC. This year, Angola bypassed Nigeria as the #1 oil producing country in Africa.
Wow.
That's just one. A leading diamond country in Africa, Angola. There are countries from Europe who have said Angola has the potential to be an agricultural giant. Why? There's land in Angola where if you drop a seed, you don't have to cover it up. The soil is so rich, it'll sprout up by itself.
Lord.
Now, what you need first, you got to have water. Who has more water and rivers than the DRC and Angola? Nobody in Africa and very few worldwide. UNICEF many years was in Angola. And this is what UNICEF said about Angola. If Angola had to, Angola could supply all of Africa with the water needed. That's
wow.
That's how much water, big rivers, is in Angola.
That's a lot of water. Man, Africa is blessed by the Most High. You know, I seen that too when I went there. I said, you know what? I said, you know, we have been lied to for hundreds of years.
We've been lied to forever.
Yeah. And it's really not fair that, you know, we don't even know our birthright. Like we couldn't even, you know, pinpoint a tribe to belong to because everything has been wiped away from us.
Yes.
You know,
I did my African ancestry.
So
I'm from Belanta, Guinea-Bissau.
Okay.
the rice producer. That explains why I'm in Georgia.
Is that close to Sierra Leone?
Huh?
Is that close to Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau?
Very close.
Yeah.
Very close. Next door.
Yeah.
Very close. Yes.
That makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The rice growers.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I haven't done my African ancestry yet, but I know I have done one of the DNA tests, and I have majority Nigerian in my DNA. I have Sierra Leone too. I have Sierra Leone, and I have Kenya in my DNA as well. So I'm kind of like, split up in between the three. But yeah, those natural resources, man. The Portuguese, they colonized, a lot of African countries too. So my thing is this, usually when a country is set free from the colonial masters are still ruling indirectly. So
exactly.
Yeah, so the people that won the war, I'm sure they had a lot of Portuguese influence, to help them win the war. What do you think about that?
Oh, earlier I said there was a setup by the Portuguese before they left. They created an environment where Angola would need them, no matter what. Okay. So what we have now in Angola, and I got to say this. This is etched in my mind, and I will never ever forget it. When I first went there in 2001, okay, the country was so torn compared to when I was there in 2019. But still, in that state of warlike structures, there were still Portuguese owning the businesses and telling the Angolans, ruling over the Angolans in the business, speaking to them as though they were children. Did you hear me? This was 2001. All right. It's much better now. But it was that way in 2001, and I will never, ever forget it. Oh, as a matter of fact, I got to tell you this. All the billboards had, there was no black people. They were white.
Wow.
Can you imagine how I felt?
Wow.
In 2001, like I said, the things I saw, I will never forget.
Wow.
But you got to remember now, Angola natural resource is super rich. It's unbelievably rich. Okay. So, and I got to tell you this. Out of all the countries in Angola, in Africa, Angola was colonized the longest. And
I seen that.
And no other country was colonized as long as Angola. No other country was in a war as long as Angola.
I know.
So that tells you that tells you the state of their mind. Think about it now. Anybody that went through that would have major psychological issues.
Major.
Not to mention
PTSD for sure.
Not to mention that because of the war, Angola had more landmines than any other country worldwide. And they are still finding landmines to this day. Okay. So we have to be upright and fair to the people and then go to Angola and understand their situation. They making as good as a comeback as they possibly can. But you got to keep in mind that they were colonized longer than anyone, brutalized longer than anyone, at war longer than anyone. Okay? Oh, I
So,
got to say this. Of all of all the Africans that came to the Western Hemisphere, almost 50% came from the Angola Congo region. I need for you to go back and look at your messenger. I left some maps of Angola with the ports. On that map, on one of those maps, you see 7. You see 7 dots. Each of those dots represent a port in Angola. A port for what? Taking stuff out of the country.
yeah.
Okay, but recently I found another port on the inland, and that port is Massagana, Fortaleza de Massagana. It was one of the oldest forts it's one of the oldest forts in Angola that was used as a port for taking our ancestors out of the Angola area into Brazil. But I left all that information on your messenger. Okay.
Because Angola is close to, Brazil and DRC. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh,
Can
boy,
you
I tell
imagine
you.
Can you imagine one country with 7 ports on the coastline? That's unbelievable. California, if I'm not mistaken, has only 4 on their coastline. That puts it into perspective. Angola has 7 ports on their coast. So that shows you the level of the Portuguese taking out of Angola. 7 ports. 7 ports on the coastline. And that doesn't include the ones on the inside, on the interior. As a matter of fact, early on in my relationship with my wife, she said, they took so many of us. You can travel for miles and never see one of us. Did you hear me, sister? Did you hear me? She said they took so many that you can travel for miles and not see one of us.
That is so messed up. That is so messed up.
I got a story to tell and a book to write.
Man, I tell you what,
these maps are on your messenger, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
The Most High chooses us for our own separate journey in Africa.
Yeah. I know I was chosen.
Yeah.
I get confirmation on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we are. The ones that have been to Africa, because a lot of us in the U.S. have not been to Africa. A lot of us here in the States, we are still asleep. But the ones that have been to Africa and have been chosen for their own personal separate journey, we have to fulfill that prophecy, because we are living in the end times. We really don't have much longer, until the planet is reset. And I feel like the great reset is going to be in Africa. I feel that, and I feel like we have a part to play in that. I also want to ask you about the cost of living in Angola. The currency, renting, owning,
this gonna shock you, and it's gonna shock you in a very good way.
Okay.
The name of their currency is one of our cultural holidays. Okay. The name of their currency is the Kwanzaa.
Wow.
Think about it. Think about it, sister.
Wow.
The name of their currency is the Kwanzaa.
Wow.
That speaks to us, doesn't it?
That is deep.
Doesn't that speak to us?
Yes. Yes, because a lot of us don't celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Kwanzaa.
Yes. The name of that currency is the Kwanzaa.
See, Angola needs to be on the map. A lot of people don't even know
Exactly.
about Angola. They don't.
I got to go one step further with the word Kwanzaa.
Okay.
One of the mighty rivers in Angola is the Kwanzaa River.
Mm.
Now, if you follow the Kwanzaa River, it will take you to that fort that I spoke on earlier, Massagana.
Okay.
The Massagana is on the Kwanzaa River. Now, the Kwanzaa River divides two provinces that has the Kwanzaa name.
Okay. Okay.
On the north side of the Kwanzaa River is Kwanzaa North, and on the south side is Kwanzaa South. They represent something major in the history of Angola. Okay. Okay. Can I go a little further?
Yes, please.
A little further.
Yes.
Okay. There's a tribal land on the Kwanzaa. It's called there's a tribal region on the Kwanzaa in Malange. Malange is not far from Fortaleza de Malanga. I mean Massagana. I mean Massagana. Okay. Now Malange is where one of our famous warrior queen comes from, Queen Nzinga.
Okay. Is that the queen that you were standing next to?
Yes, Queen. Okay. That's where Queen Nzinga is from.
Okay.
Okay, Malange. Now, Malange is also of historical significance because it's where the spark that started the war against the Portuguese in 1961 got started. And it got started because over in Africa, over in Angola, they were doing the same thing we doing, working the fields from almost can't see to almost can't see. So listen, black folks in America, what we did in America, they had our ancestors doing in Africa, working from almost can see to almost can't see.
Yep. Yeah.
And the uprise was because they were playing in a few pennies. And the uprise happened in Malange near the Kwanzaa River, where Queen Nzinga is from. He's talking about history. Angola is full of history.
Angola
is full of history.
That's what my husband said. He was like, y'all were slaves in America. He said, but we were slaves in Africa too. They just got their freedom later than we did.
Yes.
We got ours before them,
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of African countries didn't get free until after 1960, for real.
Some didn't get free to 1980s, 1990s.
Man, that is crazy.
Some 1980s, 1990s now.
Man. And you know what? That divide and conquer thing is so true. When you divide a nation, you can easily conquer little segments of the nation.
Yes.
And that's exactly what has been happening, and we are still, conquered in the mind. The mindset is still conquered. We may be free physically, but the mindset is still conquered. We got this crab in a bucket mentality. We don't want to help each other rise, and you really, it's sad, but you really can't trust, your own people. You really have to have discernment from the Most High to see who is for you and who is not, because people mask real easy.
Yes.
People put on a mask. They do.
Yes.
So what about the cost of living?
Yes. Let me tell you about the cost of living. 5 years ago, Luanda, Angola was the most expensive place to live worldwide.
Worldwide?
Yes. It's like number 4, number 5 now. But 4-5 years ago, Luanda, Angola was number 1. Why? Because everything in that country was imported. It's not easy to see. If you import everything, my goodness, your cost of living is sky high. Now, I don't mean to jump the gun. This is the problem in Angola. You got the very well off, and then you got the very not so well off.
Ain't
the
no
very,
in
very
between.
poor.
There's no in between.
And Angola is an example of almost all other countries in Africa. No middle class.
Nope.
No middle class. You're either well off or you well poor. And sister, after I saw poverty in Angola, I never saw poverty the way I saw it in America again.
Yeah, me too.
I'm telling you, if you live in America, you ain't seen poverty. I don't give a damn how bad.
I know. That's how I felt too when I went to Ghana. I said, you know what? And when I came back from Ghana, brother, I still had, children that was living with me at the time. They wasn't grown yet. And I had them donating stuff. I said, look, y'all don't need this. I said, let's get rid of some of this stuff. We don't need it. Let's give it away to the needy, because really poverty in America is nothing compared to poverty in Africa. Yeah.
Listen, I was fortunate because my wife's family didn't hide anything from me. They took me to the best of Angola and they took me to the worst. They didn't hide anything. They made sure I saw the whole picture. And I'm so thankful I did. I saw the whole.
So what about because I don't know if you noticed, but right now the US dollar is very high in a lot of African countries.
Okay.
So like the currency conversion.
Angola is doing so good. Angola is doing so good economically. That is not impacting Angola the way it is other countries.
Okay.
Angola, right now, this year, Angola discovered what is called a pink diamond. And it was so large. And it was in all the newspapers. The last time that was such a diamond discovered was 300 years ago.
Wow.
Did you hear me? My wife's family, almost half of her family works for the oil company.
Okay.
And all while Angola just bypassed Nigeria as the #1 producer of oil in Africa. Her sister is a lawyer for the oil company Senegal, owned by the state, in Houston.
Wow.
Did you hear me, sister?
Wow.
Almost half her family works for the oil company.
That is deep.
Listen, her mom is a university professor of 35 years, just retired recently. She's fluent in 10 languages. She insisted that I come and sign those papers and be on her team.
Yeah.
She insisted because she knows me. She knows me. She insisted that I be on her team to fight the poverty that's in Angola.
So how can the diaspora help? How can we help, combat some of this poverty that's going on in Angola, especially with the widows and the children?
Yes, they can help through me, and I would get them the right contacts.
Okay.
I would get them the right contacts. And if anybody wants to invest in Angola, they can come through me and I would connect them with the right people as well.
Africans Leaving America now has a repatriation manual for your visit outside of the U.S. or for your repatriation journey. This manual has plane ticket information, self-care journaling, and also financial planning with a savings log attached. This will help our people keep track of their income and journal along the way. You can find us on Amazon under Afia Koomson or under Repatriation Manual. Thank you for your contributions. Africa United.